Hello, I'm Dr. Jerry W. Jones. I teach advanced electrocardiography here in Houston, Texas, and all over the world. I've created several short videos on ECG misinformation that I found on the internet. This is something that you should be interested in also. And today's topic is going to be ischemia and infarction. So let's get started. Before I begin, I do want to say that there are some excellent, reputable, dependable websites and YouTube videos about electrocardiography. But unfortunately, there are some that are produced by people who have little or no true understanding of electrocardiography or ECG interpretation. I've created a few short videos to give you a heads-up warning that you may be visiting such a site or viewing such a video. Today, we're going to discuss the three I's. The three I's are ischemia, injury, and infarction. In the 1930s, a researcher did experiments on open chest dogs. He placed electrodes directly on the heart, directly on the surface of the heart, and then clamped the coronary arteries to create what he called ischemia, injury, and infarction. He assigned an ECG finding to each condition or state of perfusion. The first sign of ischemia was T-wave inversion. Let me repeat that. The first sign of ischemia that he decided was T-wave inversion. The first sign of injury was ST elevation, and the first sign of infarction was the appearance of Q waves. Now remember, this was during the 1930s, and it was immediately accepted by the medical community. Okay, now let's move forward, and it's now the 1950s. In the early 1950s, another group of researchers did another study, this time in closed chest dogs, with the electrodes on the outer chest wall, just like in humans, and got distinctly different results. The first sign of ischemia was large, hyperacute T waves. The results for injury and infarction were essentially the same, with injury being ST elevation and infarction being Q waves. Now, today we use the term transmural ischemia in place of injury, but that's really just a matter of semantics. But here's the problem. Few medical professionals paid any attention to these findings. Okay, now let's fast forward to the 1970s, where a young man named Jerry Jones was attending medical school and later residency. We were still being told at that time that T-wave inversion was the first sign of ischemia. It was 20 years later, but the same misinformation. Now, for the record, the first reliable sign of ischemia on a 12-lead ECG is the appearance of hyperacute T waves. T waves do not invert during the transmural ischemia. They invert when the ischemic episode is over. If the patient has had an acute coronary syndrome and the T waves are inverting, those are reperfusion T waves. Even at the time of my residency, the medical profession was 20 years behind in the advancement of electrocardiography. And you know what? It really hasn't changed much since then. Now we arrive in the year 2024. While doing research for my book, Getting Acquainted with Ischemia and Infarction, Ischemia is Not an Infarction, I came across a YouTube video that was promoting that same misinformation from the 1930s. So if you encounter any article or video that claims the first sign of ischemia is T-wave inversion, keep moving on. You absolutely cannot trust anything else they have to say. You can learn more on my website. I'm Dr. Jerry W. Jones, and I teach master classes in advanced ECG interpretation, the master class in advanced electrocardiography, and the master class in advanced dysrhythmias. Both are 4-day, live, and in-person classes. Each master class is limited to just 20 participants. There's active participation by all in both classes and time to ask questions even during the presentations. You do not have to wait till the end of a session or presentation to ask your questions. Learn more about these master classes at my website, https://medicusofhouston.com. Now, I want to thank you for your time and attention, and join me for my next presentation, Misinformation about Third-Degree AV Block. Now, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click that like button. Thanks.